Good evening, everyone. It's back to devotion time. It's Pastor Mary Armstrong-Reiner. I'm here at home, and I will confess, even though I was doing devotions tonight, I forgot till 10 minutes ago that I was doing it. So I've got food in. Cheryl, my friend, how are you? How are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope things are going better for you. Somebody else is on here too. I had to change glasses. I went to, there's a local food ministry here called Collier's, and we were very low on food from getting home at midnight on Tuesday. And for $10, you can get whatever they have that day, which I got I could have gotten 12. I took 10 boxes of blackberries. I got garlic. I got peppers. I got 2 bags of shredded lettuce. I got coleslaw mix. I got pluots. They're like plums. I got 2 bags of Brussels sprouts because one lady didn't want hers. I'm glad things are going well for you. And so anyway, I think I dropped my glasses. I had them on my shirt, and I got home and I realized I don't have them. So these are a spare pair. But I'm going to call them tomorrow and see if anybody turned them in, and hopefully they didn't get run over. I'm going to check my car again. Hey, Phyllis, good evening. So anyway, and if you hear a beeper go off, I'll have to walk over, put down my phone for a minute, and take out dinner. I found a great recipe on Weight Watchers tonight. It is a salsa, chicken, black bean, and corn casserole. You take your, I know I don't normally do this. You take your, hey, Susan, good evening, Kathy. You take your hard shell tacos, cut them in half, divide them in half, put them in the skillet, of course, spray it. Then put the mixture of corn, black beans, and chicken all over it, and put sauce on that, and then layer it again like that, and then put cheese on top, and then put foil on it. So that's what we're having for dinner tonight. Looked really good, looked really easy. It was better than having to I've been eating frozen meals for lunch the last couple days because I had them in my refrigerator. So I will be, hey, Ellie, good evening. Gosh, it's so nice to have all of you on with me. Wow. So anyway, we're having something fresh tonight. We're not having something frozen, which is what I've been eating for lunch the last few days. So anyway, this won't be as long as my normal ones. It'll probably only be about 20 minutes or so, but I'm just glad to be on with you all. We had a great trip. Christopher's had 2 great days of school. It's his final year of high school, so I got 1 graduated. Sam will be going to Southern Crescent Technical College starting August 24th. He's doing an associate's in film and something else there in hopes that he will get to go to Savannah College of Art and Design in 2 years to study animation. So he's doing this to save money and stay closer to home with his brother, not mom and dad, and that's fine. But he's getting everything in and signed up, and he doesn't start, my calendar, I haven't changed it from coming back. So August 24th is the day they start school this fall. So anyway, but Christopher started out great, doing really, really well. Of course, we've already gotten a report that there's been a student with COVID positive in the school, but Christopher's in a small classroom. Now, last year, they had COVID detected 3 times in his small class of 4 students, a teacher and an aide, because of different exposures. And but he's wearing his mask, and he's used to that and fine with that, and his whole class is wearing it. I think it's optional, but that's what his class has chosen to do, and we're all for that. So anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit tonight. Our book group, which met last night, is reading a wonderful book I've shared before with it, From an Altar in the World. And this chapter was called, let me see if I can get to it. The Practice of Encountering Others. Hey, Sharon, good evening. I think I said Sharon, Ellie, Phyllis, Kathy, Susan, and Cheryl, my dear friend Cheryl. By the way, the other Cheryl, so Cheryl knows, is on a trip, and Sherry is also on a trip. So, and where Sherry is, she says she does not get good reception. So next week we'll have you all back together, okay? And tomorrow night will be Friday Night Fun Night. We'll have that at 7 o'clock, okay? And then next week, I will do devotions on Tuesday only. Yes, I just got back, but my brother Tim is having a big birthday, and I haven't got to be with him on his birthday for several years now since we moved. I think I've been with him one time in the last 7 years, so I am going to celebrate his birthday because that's really important for me to be there to celebrate him. So I will be flying out to Kansas City on Wednesday with my mask and ready to go, and my sanitizer, or hand sanitizer, all that good stuff. So, but anyway, what I really loved about this chapter was about encountering others, about Jesus. She talks about encountering other people and how we get so busy in our life that we just want to go to the store. We don't want to talk to anybody. We don't want to see anybody. And I don't know if you're like me, but every once in a while, I know I don't look great. I just want to get in and get out. And sometimes if I think I see somebody, I might go around the corner. I'm not trying to be mean, but I do that every once in a while. Most of the time, I will stop and say hi. But every once in a while, I do that. I mean, I'm just being honest, okay? But anyway, she talks about taking time. She says about the human community. Our community is with the human community, such a broad connection that is easy to overlook. About the people in our community. Hey, Jeannie, good evening, good evening. And how, if you're part of a church, you recognize people in your church, and you talk to them, and you say hi, even if you're not close to them. You recognize them. But when we go to the grocery store or gas station, go in, or some restaurant, we may not pay much attention to the person who's waiting on us. And I may have talked about this before, but it hit me on the trip, especially. We were gone. We were all over the Midwest. We were in Kansas City. We were in St. Louis at my girlfriend's, Kansas City with my brother Tim. We were in Hannibal visiting, got to see my cousin Jeannie and my brothers Tom and Ted and their families, and my cousins Mark and Laura and their friends. And then we went with my college friends. We camped. We actually stayed in a small cabin at my friend's campground, which is outside the Quad Cities of Illinois, Iowa. And then we went to Michigan. Well, we ate out a number of times. And one of the things we were talking about in group last night, in which what she challenges people in this chapter is to just pay attention to the grocery clerk or the waitress or waiter or the gas person working, and recognize them as a human being. Look them in the eyes and recognize them as a fellow human being, and maybe greet them, or if they, if they're your waiter, waitress, which is what I always do, talk to them, thank them. They have really hard jobs, and especially right now, I think all those jobs, grocery clerks, gas station people, drivers, bringing food or bringing your food out to you, they've got tough jobs, and they still have tough jobs. There's still a lot going on, and she talks about seeing the humanity in them and recognizing them and saying thanks. She says, let's see, here's what she says. The practice of paying attention, wearing skin, walking on the earth, and getting lost. This spiritual practice requires no special setting, no personal trainer, no expensive equipment. It can be done anywhere by anyone who resolves to do it. A good way to warm up is to focus on one of the human beings who usually sneak right past you because they are performing some mundane service, such as taking your order or handing you your change. The next time you go to the grocery store, try engaging the cashier. You do not have to invite her home for lunch or anything, but take a look at her face while she is trying to find arugula on her laminated list of produce. Here is someone who exists even when she is not ringing up your groceries, as hard as that may be for you to imagine. She is someone's daughter, maybe someone's mother as well. She has a home she returns to when she hangs up her apron here, a kitchen that smells of last night's supper, a bed where she occasionally lies awake at night wrestling with her own demons and angels. Do not go too far with this, or you risk turning her into a character in your own novel, which is a large part of her problem already. It is enough for you to acknowledge her when she hands you your change. You saved $11.06 by shopping at Winn-Dixie today, she says, looking right at you. All that is required for you is to look back. Just meet her eyes for a moment when you say, thanks. Sometimes that is all another person needs to know, that she has been seen. Not the cashier, but the person. But even if she does not seem to notice, the encounter has occurred. You noticed, and because you did, neither of you will ever be quite the same again. She says, simple and maybe even silly as this sounds, it is such a profound practice that those who attempt it often meet with huge inner resistance. I do not want to encounter another human being at the cash register, thank you very much. I just want my groceries, in paper, not plastic, please, as quickly as possible, so I can get on with my day, which will become interminable if I have to stop and do this tedious eye-to-eye thing with every person who crosses my path. Surely they have other people in their lives to see who they really are, to treat them as more than means to ends. I do not dispute the importance of that, I really do not, but who has the time? Honestly, if you knew how many things I have to get done by 6 o'clock tonight. And this is what she says. This is such a predictable human response that Jesus spoke directly to it, not only in the Gospel of Matthew, but especially there. And it's from Matthew 25:34-37. Then the king will say to those at the right hand, come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when was it that we saw you? Matthew 25:34-37. Who has the time? In this and countless other passages, Jesus taught the practice of encounter. He taught it not only by what he said, but by also what he did. He did not leave any of his clothes in a chest to rot. I love that. Watch how this rabbi practices what he preaches, and you will note that his teaching is not limited to people who look, act, or think like him. He does the same eye-to-eye thing with Roman centurions, Samaritan lepers, Syrophoenician women, and hostile Judeans that he does with his own Galilean disciples. He does it with slaves and rulers, 12-year-old girls and powerful men, people who can be useful to him and people who cannot. With the possible exception of his own family, no one is dismissed from his circle of concern, for no one made in God's image is negligible in the revelation of the same God. In biblical tradition, the practice of encounter shows up most often as the practice of hospitality, or philoxenia. Take the word apart and you get philo, from one of the 4 Greek words for love, and xenia for stranger. Love of stranger, in other words, which is about as counterintuitive as you can get. For most of us, fear of stranger, xenophobia, good evening, Sandra, comes much more naturally, but in that case, Scripture is unnatural. According to Jonathan Sacks, chief rabbi of Great Britain, the Hebrew Bible in one verse commands, and that's the Old Testament, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But in no fewer than 36 places commands us to love the stranger. Why should we do that, she says? Because we have been strangers ourselves. Because if we have never been strangers, then that is because we have never left home. The people of Israel did leave home repeatedly. They knew what it was like to hear keys turning in locks and shutters being shut when they walked into a new town holding their thin children by the hand. They were used to knocking on the door of the house with the room for rent sign in the front yard and learning that the room had already been rented, always, no matter how many doors they knocked on, learning that the room had already been rented. You shall love the stranger first of all because you know what it is to be a stranger yourself. Second of all, you shall love the stranger because the stranger shows you God. Abraham and Sarah encountered God when they welcomed 3 strangers into their tent. Yeah, just set it up there. Jacob encounters God when he stays up all night wrestling a stranger. Good evening, Robin. A stranger by River Jabbok. When the people of Israel are in exile in Babylon, God anoints a Persian stranger named Cyrus to bring them home. In his first sermon in Luke's gospel, Jesus gets in trouble for pointing out that God sent Elijah to save a widow in Sidon and Elisha to heal a leper in Syria, when there was no shortage of widows and lepers in Israel. Why should we love the stranger? Because God does. Well, if this intrigues you at all or interests you at all, I encourage you to look at this book, An Altar in the World by Barbara Brown Taylor. It has been out for a number of years, and so you can get it used or you can get it on your Kindle. But it is an amazing book. It was written, I'm looking at the page, where does it tell me? 2009. And we are reading in a book group. But it's about, it's called A Geography of Faith, Encountering God in the World, in people, in places, in things, in our bodies, in animals, in the world around us. And I really, really love it. It's been really amazing. So we talked in the group because Barbara Brown Taylor at the beginning of this chapter talks about being an introvert and about learning about being an introvert, and that something like this is harder for her. And we talked in our group about who's extroverts and who's introverts. And of course, if you know me at all, you know that I'm a huge extrovert. I love people. I love getting to know people. I love to know their story. I love to know their work. I love to know all about them. I'm just always fascinated and interested by people. And I'd say that as a general because I love meeting all kinds of different people all the time and just getting to know them. And this is something, I don't know, maybe partially the way I was raised. I don't know. I don't know if it was my Catholic teaching in grade school. I don't know if it's my extrovertedness. But this is not a hard thing for me to do. I often, we were on vacation. This guy had on a great shirt. He's not waiting on me. We're walking by, and I'm like, I love your shirt. That's great. I don't always do that, but if I see something or something that appeals to me about somebody and I think, hey, maybe I can make their day a little brighter or better, I will say something. I'm not looking for anything in return. I'm not looking for them. They don't even necessarily have to acknowledge it, but I just want them to know that I see them. I try to always thank the waitress or waiter, especially in this time of COVID. We've had so many good waiters and waitresses take care of us, and I usually will say to them, hey, you know what? I was a waiter, a waitress. I've done it. I've been a caterer. I've worked in food. I know how hard a job this is, and you did an excellent job. Now, I don't say that if they don't do a good job, but I will tell you that on our trip, we really encountered some wonderful people working hard at their work, and I thanked them all. I said, thank you for doing such a good job, because you may realize this, all of you. You know when somebody is not good at their job. You know when you have a bad waiter. I mean, you just, and then it makes you realize, oh, wow, I've had some great waitresses or great waiters or great cooks or great grocery people who take care of me and help me out. I mean, I always love when I go to Chick-fil-A and I thank them, and they always say what? They always say, my pleasure. It is their motto, part of their motto. It is I think part of their creed. It is what they're trained, but it's how they serve. They have an attitude of serving and making people's day better by getting good food with the right order on time to you. And whether you have an issue with Chick-fil-A or not, here's what I'll tell you. So many other fast food restaurants could learn how to run their places better if they learned a little bit more about Chick-fil-A. Sam and I, on Sundays when he comes to church with me, we usually stop and grab something to eat. We don't usually sit down. We just go. My favorite place is to get my gas and go to Quick Trip. I can get homemade, well, not homemade, but they have a girl usually a girl working behind the counter, and she'll make a grilled cheese or a chicken quesadilla hot, and I'll get my favorite tea because they have, I don't drink caffeine, and they have several flavored, non-caffeinated herbal teas that are really good. And So we do that a lot. But sometimes, we'll have a hankering Samuel loves Taco Bell. Well, one Sunday we wanted to go to Arby's, and the one in Griffin looked really busy, so I decided to go up to the one in McDonough. Do you know there was like 6 cars in front of us? It took us 25 minutes to get our order. Unbelievable. Hey, Don, good evening. So, there's a service, when service isn't good, but there are so many good people working so hard in grocery stores, in restaurants, in diners, in gas stations. They take care of you. They know what they're doing. They show their appreciation. And so I want to encourage those of you, maybe, that's okay, Dawn, it's okay. I want to encourage those of you who maybe don't notice the grocery clerk or don't notice the waitress. Maybe next time, just look at them and say thanks. Doesn't have to be more than a second or two, but recognize them. Recognize them for the human beings they are, and more than just serving you and I. I love that scripture because they're saying, well, when did we do that? Let's see each other. See the people who help us, who make our day a little better by doing a great job. Let's thank them. Let's recognize them as the people that they are. Loving the stranger. That's what it's all about. So, thanks for joining me tonight. Hey, it's really great. I don't have any specific prayer requests, but I do want to pray for several people I know who are undergoing cancer treatments. I also want to pray for the doctors, nurses, techs at the hospitals where things are getting worse. Henry County, where I live, declared a medical state of emergency just a couple days ago because the hospital is filled and there's a lot of people in the hospital with COVID, with the Delta variant. And also Spalding County, where the church I serve at has also got a number of beds very full. So we want to pray for those patients too. We want to pray for their recovery. We want to pray for their families. There are still people dying. Thank God not as many as before, but one death is too much, and we want to pray for those. We want to pray for those who are mourning. Pray that they will know God's love in this very difficult time. And as always, if you have a prayer request or a joy you want to share, just let me know, and I'll be glad to share that and put that on my own prayer list. And you can let me know if that's something you want me to put on the church prayer list. Hey, tomorrow night, Friday night, like I said, is Friday Night Fun, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. David and I will be there. Don't know what we're going to share yet, but we will be on. So we hope you will join us then. Sunday morning is worship online at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For those of you coming, it's not a requirement, but we are encouraging people to wear masks indoors. That is just with everything that is happening. But again, you're not required and you're still welcome. But we are encouraging it right now with everything that's going on. We will have communion. I will be preaching. And I look forward to seeing those of you in person, and those of you who can't be in person, I hope you will join us online. And as I said, for next week, I will have devotions on Tuesday. Actually, I may do Monday night because I'm going to work on Monday. And if I am, I will put a note up. I am working, but if I'm going to do devotions on Monday night, I will put a note up. So please look for that. But I will be here on Tuesday, and then I'm headed out Wednesday through Saturday to go celebrate my first best friend, my brother Timothy, John Schwartz. Tim, who is, he is still my first best friend and has always been my best friend, and we are super, super close, and I love him to pieces. And so I'm going to go and help celebrate his birthday with many other friends, and very excited about it. So, all right, well, everybody, hey, have a great evening. Know that I pray that whatever's going on in your life, God's presence with you, God's love for you, God's grace for you. And congratulations also to my cousin Karen, who closed on her condominium today. I'm so excited for you, Karen. If you see this, you've gone on a long road, and I'm really, really happy for you that you've been able to to close and to get your new place to live. So enjoy that. She lives in the Chicago metro area. She's a teacher, special ed teacher of 28 years. She doesn't go back to school for a couple more weeks because Illinois goes back to school later than Georgia does, but that's okay. We're already back in the swing of things. So, all right, well, listen. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hey, it went a little bit longer. Sam took the food out for me, so we will have a little bit late dinner tonight. God bless you all. Take care of you, and I'll look forward to seeing you hopefully with us tomorrow night. Take care. Good night.